thing.
But that's the thing, right? Like, if I was to list your biggest goal threats in the Man United squad, right? Martial is very hit and miss. I don't expect him to score in big games. Mason Mount's meant to be a technical, proficient offensive player, but I don't see him scoring the goals to help
No,
you. Garnacho
I
will
do.
get 1 in 10. Maguire bundles one in, but he's more as likely to score an own goal at the same time. Compared to Liverpool squad, right? Doesn't matter how many he misses, Nunes will always be a threat and potentially score. Gakpo's got a good shot. Lucho Diaz is probably 1 in 3, and he'll make or score something. Mo Salah always scores, but he's been an assist maestro this season. Soboslai's got a long shot and has been scoring. McAllister likes a shot, can score from distance. Wataru Endo, people underrate his offensive capabilities. He scored key goals for Stuttgart. Van Dijk scores from set pieces. Konate scores from set pieces. Trent scores long range and from set pieces. Even Alisson Becker scores. So
And with Onana at goal, I won't be surprised if there's at least 20 shots on target.
at Anfield as well, yeah, with the crowd behind him.
Well, yeah, this is it. And
This was such a fun episode. Reds fans, Liverpool fans all over the world. This will bring a smile to your face. Absolutely grilling a Man United fan. And to be fair, Kash was pretty realistic. You also get to hear Kash's opinion, a Manchester United fan's opinion, on Wataru Endo, Emperor Endo, Legendo, our very own Japanese captain, all about Endo. Now, this episode is about Liverpool versus Man United at Anfield. Different perspectives around the players, around the tactics, around the coach, around the future prospects of both clubs. You don't want to miss it. Really, really fun episode. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to chuck a like if you enjoy it. I guarantee it will bring a smile to your face. And subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go, guys. Hey everyone, and welcome to Liverpool Fan in Japan podcast. I'm delighted to be welcoming back Kash. How are you doing, my man?
hi, thanks for having me back. I'm all
Very
good.
good, very good. A prominent Man United fan, so we're going to do the preview for this weekend at Anfield. It's going to be an absolute cracker. It will be a cracker for me, at least. You optimistic? You looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to hopefully some good football, but in terms of the result, I think it's already clear what's going to be on the cards or what to expect.
What number? Give me a number.
If I'm honest, 5-1 Liverpool. I think that's my gut instinct. It was 3-1
Five.
initially, but I'm up to 5-1. Yeah, I'm not going for the 7s and 8s.
Who's going to get past Alisson, Van Dijk, and Konate? Who on the Man
There's
United
always a consolation somewhere in there, right?
Is that right? Is that right? Okay, so let's do the lineups. I'm going to give you a whistle-stop quick lineup prediction. For me, it's going to be Alisson Becker. For me, best goalkeeper in the world, on form and historically at the moment, best in the Premier League. You're going to have Tsimikas left back, Trent Alexander-Arnold right back, Van Dijk partnering Konate. I think it'll be Wataru Endo, number 6, holding in front of him. This is the only decision. Soboslai will start right side at 8. On the left 8, will it be Curtis Jones, will it be Ryan Gravenberch, or will it be Cody Gakpo to go for it, absolutely go for the throat and go for the kill? You know what? I'm going to put Gakpo in there. I reckon we'll do Man United. So we're going to go Gakpo full offensive. Lucho Diaz left side. Mo Salah right side. Darwin Núñez, agent of chaos up front. They're just going to go attacking blaze of glory. They put all their prominent pieces of play together. And I think he'll really go for a statement result before Christmas. What about you? What's your lineup for United?
You're at the top of the table. I think everything's to play for. I think if anything, there's no pressure because you're already there, kind of thing, and it's just a case of performing. For us, I don't think there's any planned changes. Obviously, there's some enforced changes with Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw's injury from last night. I expect to see Varane and Johnny Evans in defence, which happy about Varane, but I think Johnny Evans is not going to cut it against that level of attack.
It has to be, right? You've got no one else.
Exactly. We're forced into that position. I mean, we had Amrabat playing there, right? Anyways, I'm hoping for Wan-Bissaka on the right and Reguilon on the left rather than Dalot. That's my preference. Then in midfield, obviously, it's going to be Scott McTominay and Amrabat again, with Bruno just in front of them two. And then up front, Højlund with Anthony on the right and Garnacho on the left. I think there's not much options. He won't start Pellistri. I'd prefer him over Anthony, but I think that's what we're going to get. I would prefer Kobe Mainoo over Scott McTominay. I think he gives a lot more assurance. He doesn't get run over as prominently as Scott does, but in fairness, I think that's what we're going to get.
Okay, so Reguilon instead of Dalot. What for? For his attacking prowess? Because he definitely can't defend.
I just think Dalot's just not cutting it for me. I mean, even on right back, I do not prefer Dalot. Like, for me, he's at best a backup right back, and never mind left back, right? I think even last night there were glimpses of silly mistakes, his positional errors. It's just, for me, he's never been at that level where you can be your go-to fullback.
Indeed. And Ten Hag said that the Munich performance was a good performance. Maybe he's just happy he kept it to 1-0. He didn't even have the ball.
Well, this is the thing, right? I mean, I'd say for the first 15 minutes, you were like, okay, United have turned up here to play. And positionally, Bayern Munich were at all fronts. And even the first 5 minutes of the second half. But I'd say 20 minutes in roughly 100 minutes played, including added time. It's just not good enough. I mean, there was nothing really happening. Let's put it simply, chances created. There was one shot on target. That is it. I mean, compared to Bayern Munich, they were just having a chilled day out there, just having a bit of fun. I mean,
Yeah,
Kane
no,
didn't have a
definitely.
great game, but he still got the assist, right? And United caught sleeping. And let's not talk about Onana and his reluctance to try and even save the ball, right?
Yeah, no, no, I hear you, I hear you. But what are you going to do? Like, I'm just looking at the potential one-on-ones and lineups, and you got to win your mini one-on-ones to give your team an overall chance. We've got Salah against Regulon.
This is it. I mean, even to be honest, even against Dallo, I think it's the same thing. I mean, Salah wins that battle any day of the week.
Yeah, I know it's a complete mismatch. So definitely fantasy football captain. Probably maybe Nunes. Nunes might. This is the game for me that I identified that Nunes is going to turn it on because he always offers a threat. He always offers an out. It doesn't matter if he misses the ball, or scuffs it off his shin or his head or anything. Against Man
Well,
United, I'm sure he'll have enough chances to at least get a brace.
yeah, well, him and Gapco turned it on last year, didn't they? So
Yeah, yeah, the finishing was immense and clinical. And here's the thing, right? Rasmus Højlund, okay, he's physical, he's young, he's enthusiastic, he's got a bit of pace about him. Finishing is okay, gets in the right positions, but I think it's the worst stylistic matchup. Van Dijk and Konate, physical, fast, beast
I
who's
mean,
aerially powerful. What can
I
Højlund do?
watched him against Upamecano last night. It was very physical, right? And he was getting out muscled most of the time. And I think it just wasn't working. His hold up play, to be fair, hasn't been great for the past 2, 3 games. I'm not
Yeah.
sure because he's being in and out due to Martial, but Martial's ill. I don't expect to see Rashford in the squad again. I think with the pressure on, everyone's kind of ill. But it's not working. I think Hoyland is the type of player you buy whilst you've got a prominent striker, and then you kind of wean in and
Yeah.
let him evolve over a couple of years.
At
He's
that
been thrown
price.
into the deep end, and I don't think it's gonna hamper his development more than anything else.
Yeah, yeah. There were even talks that they need to sign another striker to take the pressure off him, even though he's like a 70 million striker. And it's incredible that Man United's squad is so top heavy with ancient kind of stalwarts at the back like Johnny Evans, and then you got no one in midfield. You just got no quality, like really outstanding quality in midfield. And when you like Garnacho is going to have to be tracking Trent everywhere because Trent is our roaming playmaker at the moment. Can Garnacho do it?
Well, I think he doesn't have a choice. I mean, he can do it to some extent. I mean, last night he did quite well, but again, we still get exposed because it's the positional problems. Because this, it's like everyone's playing and they've not got a clear sense of where they need to be and what they need to be doing. There's always a doubt or a second trail of thought, like should I do this or should I not do this? You see it with everyone, and I think collectively that leads to errors. And when that goal that Bayern Munich scored was so easy. I mean, the entire line was just out, right? And he just walked in behind and just scored.
Yeah, and like just in midfield as well, it's a complete midfield overhaul, and I think it was much needed because get rid of the old legs, Henderson and Fabinho. We were just losing the midfield battle last season. But how like Szoboszlai and Gakpo, if Gakpo starts, or even a Gravenberch, they're very good at progressing and breaking that initial press because they got the speed, physicality, and can run with the ball. Like you're having McTominay and Amrabat there, who are not pacey, and they're not the most technically
I
proficient
mean,
at holding the ball in midfield as well.
take the
How are you not
piss.
getting overrun
Well,
in
this
midfield?
is it. Never mind overrun. Even when we do manage to somehow get the ball, how are we going to hold the ball? Because everyone's passing it around like it's a hot potato, right? There were moments when I saw Amrabat sliding around. To be fair, Amrabat and Varane were probably our two better performers last night. And Amrabat in recent weeks has shown glimpses of what he can do. Scott McTominay, I think, has scored a handful of goals now, club and country. And in his mind, he just has to bomb forward. And defensively, he's never technically been it. I mean, the odd yellow card or clinical foul here and there, that's it. And I think because he's pushing forward so much, Bruno's then dropping deeper and deeper, which is completely taking him away from his natural game. He needs to be far forward as he can get, right, to be able to create the chances. Because 2, 3 years ago, we were complaining about getting overrun in midfield. We're still in that same position, and we've got Casemiro, we've got Mount. We've then got Ericsson in there now. We've got Kobe Meno. I mean, fair enough, we've got some injuries, but I mean, the numbers in the midfield are quite high in terms of player count, but the quality is just not there.
You're gonna love the video I was working on right before this podcast, which is ranking every squad's midfield overhaul, right? Liverpool midfield overhaul, Man United's midfield overhaul, even Manchester City, who have kind of digressed a little bit because of the lack of Gundogan, changed for Kovacic, Mateus Nunes instead of Paqueta, that kind of thing. Arsenal's midfield overhaul was pretty decent, but going back
Yeah.
to Manchester United and Bruno Fernandes, there's some areas of internet who think he got a yellow card. There's nothing to do in the last game, nothing left to do, and he got the yellow card purposely to miss
I
Anfield.
think I don't think it's purposely. I mean, as a professional, you'd expect a lot better from them. But I think his decision making sometimes does get the better of him. I mean, he's whinging and whining. I think, which is his natural attitude towards things. I think got the better of him. But then again, why is he on? I mean, I think somebody tweeted 4 or 5 minutes before that actually happened. Someone needs to get him off. The game's done now, and that's been a risk to happen before even the Chelsea game. So the
Yeah, yeah.
fact it took so long, and it's like, see, even though my team selection, right? I forgot completely he was on a yellow. Yeah, we're done. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna actually do in that position, but is he gonna play Van de Beek? He won't. It just won't happen.
Is
So
Ericsson
I
fit?
guess we'll probably see a trio of Amrabat, Kobe Menu, and Scott McTominay.
Ericsson's not fit.
He's not fit. I don't think so. No.
He's not fit. Okay, okay. And here's
Ericsson's
another
not
thing, right?
fit. Mount's out, right? And then Van de
Yeah.
Beek probably won't get a chance. I mean, he's not going to throw him into the starting lineup. I can't see it happening.
Yeah, which is shocking as well because he was from the Ajax academy. He broke the last lines. He's quite effective in that system with Frankie De Jong as well, and he just can't get a tune out of him at all. He doesn't rate him at all.
Yeah, you've made me more sad now, reminding me of the yellow card. It's just going to be an even more misery.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic for me personally, and I love
I
talking to
know.
you
I
because
mean,
one big attribute, right? One big attribute that people have underestimated or people not seen, and comparing to Man United is even more prominent. Liverpool's set pieces are monstrous. We have Trent, Soboslai, Robertson, Simicas, who can all deliver a pinpoint ball, and our attacking threat is Van Dijk, is Konate. Soboslai is quite tall. Gakpo is quite tall as well. Darwin Núñez scores headers like last season against Man United.
you've got
We've got a
physical
tall, big
presence,
team, a set
right?
piece team. How are you going to stop that?
Well, there's that. You've got physical presence with people who desire to head the ball. I mean, I was watching a clip last night, right? And I was like, when was the last headed goal for United? I mean, I genuinely can't remember, right? It's like so frequent. And then you've got Luke Shaw taking corners, Bruno Fernandes taking free kicks, which hardly get into any good space, right? Create any chances. It's so minimal. I mean, from a set piece perspective, we've been really off it for about 8 years now. So I've completely lost that hope. In terms of defensively, I can't see Johnny Evans competing with that, and I think because of that, right? Yes, he's got experience, but with that physical presence and that pace, right? And then how much can Varane cover you? Mistakes are bound to happen, and it's going to be embarrassing at times.
Yeah, and Varane is nowhere near as aerially dominant as Harry Maguire. If there's one quality Harry Maguire does, he goes for everything and he really puts his head where it hurts and he is your defensive
Yeah,
tower at the
I
back.
mean, he's done himself really really well. I think in terms of the past 6 to 8 weeks when he's come back into the squad with amongst injuries, but obviously last night you could tell it was a disappointment to him. And to be fair, I've been a very big critique of Maguire. He has obviously earned the spot he has at the minute, and he's been performing in and out every week. But it's a shame to have him injured. To be fair, for this game.
Yeah, and also the goalkeeping situation. If you do get bombarded with crosses into the box, you want Onana to stay on his line. You want him to Superman punch it out. You want him to try and claim everything.
I mean, there's no confidence there whatsoever. He's going to flap, make mistakes. I won't be surprised if he makes mistakes on this at this game. What I don't understand is, right, we've bought another keeper as a backup, right? We've bought him in,
Yes.
and we've not even given him a game, not a single game yet. So we've no idea what he's like. I think there's too much talk about Onana going off to the AFCON and all that sort of stuff. I'd rather he just go, right? I mean, maybe it'll help him and it'll help us as well. But this whole conundrum doesn't work. I mean, I think it was Mark Goldbridge last night said we've Onana's cost us 100 million, obviously 50 million in the purchase, and then the lack of money that we're going to get by being out of Europe. It's
Yeah,
not
the
good.
errors against Galatasaray and the fact that he should have closed down the space, made it difficult at the angle. His decision making seems very, very poor. And for someone who's
Yeah.
heralded as a ball playing machine at the back who can really play tiki taka ball to feet, loft it, and a next Edison in line, I don't see it. I haven't seen it at all.
I don't know what's happened. I mean, he's definitely not the player he was. And to be fair, to someone to drop off to that extent, that underlines some significant issues. I watched pre-season. Obviously, he got lobbed. I think it was on the halfway line or something, and everybody was at it, and he was having a pop-up Maguire at another instance. He was being quite dominant, and that was his playing style. But since the start of the season, I'm not sure what the goalkeeping coaches are doing or what the management's told him or how they want him to play or behave. I can't see him coming forward. I mean, there were times in the early few games, right, when he was up at the halfway line, additioning a body to the press, but it's just not happening. And I think when you're a player who's taken away from your natural attributes, right, and put into a outside your comfort zone, it causes errors, mistakes, and that uncertainty creeps in. And I think he's someone, not just lack of confidence, I think he's just uncertain about where he should be and how he should do it. And I think when you're in that position, somebody really needs to take him out. But it's not going to happen. I mean, we've asked for better, far easier things, and it's not happened. So
Indeed, indeed. And sometimes, you have that kind of the main starting 11, but then you have that talented core, that high potential core on the fringes. And I know Man United fans are bigging up Kobe Mainoo as well. The good performance here and there. But even Martial started off pretty good. But then underneath that, Hannibal Medri, you got the youngsters Palestri, Facundo Palestri, Garnacho. Are they really that top tier, that top echelon that you expect to be coming through Man United? I mean, you're used to the days of Cristiano Ronaldo, even someone like Nani or players who are really, got that world-beating ability,
like
even if they don't reach
Nani,
the potential.
Anderson, the
Rafael da Silva, Fabio da
yeah,
Silva.
the Silva, the brothers, and things like that. I mean, even though they weren't top tier, they embedded well into a unit, and we performed right, and they stuck up to it. I mean, Darren Fletcher. Michael Carrick. I mean, at the time when United made those transfers, right, it was, I still remember as a child, there were people laughing, right, like, who have you gone and bought like Carrick? Yes, he's done so well over the years. I mean, but it was a collective unit where you could lean on each other, and if somebody had a bad game, somebody else stepped up. The case for us is now we're expecting everyone to have a cracking game just to be able to put on a show.
Yeah, and you don't have the effective plan B, and I don't mean a player who's just good or decent. Someone who can get you results. Someone like Chicharito, right? Chicharito can come on,
you could
and
put him
still
on.
win, still go.
Exactly, and I agree. And there's too many comparisons I think people are making with how things were. I mean, quite simply put, I was reading a stat last night. I think 1.42 points per game for Ten Hag, and it's just not good enough for a Premier League manager. You see, people keep saying he needs time. It's not his squad. I mean, I understand we kind of overperformed last year, right? But you expect to see progress year on year. I'd rather have seen them perform like this in his first year in, rather than being like this the second year almost, because I don't understand why we've dipped off in such a way. And if you can't take the blame for that as a manager, yes, there's talk about injuries, there's the ownership issue, transfers, but he's partake of all those conversations. You can't just say, you know what, I'm going to defend him blindly for 3 years. I mean, like I said, I'm not an advocate for change at this stage, but again, he needs to accept criticism where it's due.
Do you know the one thing that I think has totally undermined and collapsed Ten Hag's tenure at Man United, right? The one transformative signing that probably would have made the biggest impact of how Man United play, the identity, and get everyone to play better, is that Frankie de Jong situation, right? Where you chase him all summer, because he is a player who really takes responsibility. He will want the ball off everyone, and he'll get the ball to the right places. And the fact that they really pursued him and didn't get him, I think that crushed his vision.
It can happen, and I think there's too many. I think the media pressure is insane. We saw this with Mourinho, right? And I think it was after the Liverpool defeat that Mourinho got sacked. December 18th, it was 2019, right?
We do that to Man United. Sack coaches. Ole.
But you see, it's now there's a lot of talk last night, right? Liverpool thrashing, and then the sacking after that, and Ole's going to be back at the wheel. I mean,
Ole at the wheel,
right? It's just abysmal, but. It's not good. I don't see a clear plan. I mean, again, with signings, right? You saw it yourself with the Caicedo situation. You have a plan A, you must have a plan B, right? And even a plan C, because the transfer market is not entirely in your control. Yes, we all laughed at Liverpool when that happened, but I think you're far better off, right? Would you go back and change it? No, I don't think you would.
Klopp laughed it off yesterday.
Laughed,
he was
right?
like, DM don't want to join us in the summer, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair play, and I think sometimes it shows what the transfer market's like. Going back to the price tag on Højlund, I don't think he's entirely to blame. I think United have it's been fashion now for them to overpay on players, but I think the ID behind the talent ID situation is just not good enough. It's just trying to see who can fit. I mean, you wanted Frankie de Jong. Who did we end up with? Amrabat, right? It's like we got Ronaldo out. Yes, he was a problem, and then who did we get in? Weghorst, and now we've got in Højlund. Before that, who did we have?
Sabitzer. You got Sabitzer as well to midfield.
To be fair, I think Sabitzer could have done better. I actually preferred him over Amrabat. I think he could have stayed. There was more to it, but the injury didn't help him.
He's like Man United's version of Conor Gallagher, I think, Sabitzer. He
You can say that. I mean, we got rid of Fred, right? As a fan base, we were all on Fred's case. Like, Fred McTominay does not work. We got rid of Fred. Fred's now having a baller at Fenerbahce, right? Or wherever he is. And then we're here replacing him with the likes who can't even string two performances together. So it's a challenge. And if you look at the current squad, right, how much can you really do in January? We've got more injuries now. Not sure how long Luke Shaw's out for. Harry Maguire looks like a groin. Not clear how long that's going to be. No sign of Mount. I mean, Casemiro's back training. How long is that going to last? See, it's just things like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Casemiro, right? It says so much about Man United when last season Casemiro at one point was your biggest attacking threat or creator of goals, and similarly this season when Scott McTominay is your biggest threat and biggest
That is the
contributor of
issue.
goals.
You've nailed it there, right? When your centre defensive midfielders are amongst your top goal scorers, right? It's shocking. And apparently, I'm not sure, I've not fact checked this, but Sancho was the last forward to score at Old Trafford, right? And that was, what was it, way back last season at the start against you lot? I think it was.
That's scary.
I mean,
That
look
is.
at the transition, right? We've been through 3 transfer windows, and we're in this position. The decline is so obvious. It's you just don't know how to feel. And again, I understand Rome wasn't built in a day, and you need time. But time is earned based on some progress, right? And I mean, I don't know if you as an outsider can see any progress, but I certainly as an insider can't
Well,
see anything.
that's the thing, right? Like, if I was to list your biggest goal threats in the Man United squad, right, you got Rashford, but Rashford needs a certain moment of form and a certain key attribute, which is cutting inside, beating a man, and hitting a hard shot. Martial is very hit and miss. I don't expect him to score in big games. Rasmus Højlund, I don't think he's ready to score in the big games. And who beyond that? Mason Mount's meant to be a technical, proficient offensive player, but I don't see him scoring the goals to help
No,
you. Garnacho
I
will get 1 in 10 or something like that because he's a youngster, with a bit about him, and he might get in that position. You might score a set piece, but it's not going to be often that you're going to get one. Maybe Harry Maguire bundles one in, but he's more as likely to score an own goal at the same time as bundling one in. You don't have the goal threat or the technical capability, whereas compared to Liverpool squad, right? Doesn't matter how many he misses. Nunes will always be a threat and potentially score. Gakpo's got a good shot. Lucho Diaz is probably 1 in 3, and he'll make or score something. Mo Salah always scores, but he's been an assist maestro this season. Soboslai's got a long shot and has been scoring. McAllister likes a shot, can score from distance. Wataru Endo, people underrate his offensive capabilities. He scored key goals for Stuttgart. Van Dijk scores from set pieces. Konate scores from set pieces. Trent scores long range and from set pieces. Even Alisson Becker scores. So,
Yeah, I mean, you've got the outlet there, right? And again, it's the combination of all those players in whatever system that's deployed. It works, and I think even to the end of the game, whether you're losing or you're not, and you see the same with Arsenal as well, right? There is still that technical capability that something can happen. Now we don't have that, and it worries me a lot, especially last night when we're in one of our do or die games, the biggest game of the season so far, technically, right? And you look at the bench and you're like, what are we going to do? And then the injuries happen, and it all just kind of goes messy. But it's a tough one. I mean, anyway, I think with United, we're going to have this for a very long time. From your perspective, right? Over the course of the season, what have you enjoyed most in terms of watching Liverpool?
it's the fact that it's completely fresh. A completely new midfield for once. We can actually compete in midfield and not just a dog fight, a dog battle, outrun people. We can compete on a kind of quality level, right? In terms of interplay, in terms of personnel, in terms of things you haven't seen before. And the fact that we've got players who I think are fun to watch, right? As I keep mentioning, you just don't know what Nunes is going to do. And then Salah is always going to be a consistent performer. He's going to bend one into a corner eventually. But that midfield, Soboslai, apart from being a sexy player, is a sexy beast. The way he looked, he's so hairy as well. He's got man mode. And then like McAllister, who's kind of ginger in the right lights, World Cup winner alongside Messi. Enzo Fernandez with McAllister won the World Cup and looked unstoppable. Enzo Fernandez with Caicedo, on paper is great, it's not compatible. Enzo Fernandez is a top baller, he's down tools a little bit, but McAllister playing with Caicedo at Brighton, what a unit, fantastic, top of the world. Caicedo without McAllister, but with Enzo Fernandez, it's not the same. McAllister is the glue that holds a midfield together, so I'm really liking that, and the fact that I've put in my videos as well, Wataru Endo, right?
It's an interesting couple of years, right, for Liverpool in terms of the players bought in. I think you had it with Gakpo, Nunes, Caicedo, players going elsewhere, and then obviously signing for Liverpool. I mean, obviously that's a really good thing to have for a club. But I think it's an interesting mix, and I think you can take fruit from the fact that interesting bunch of players are cohesing very well, right? And again, that system is deployed by the manager. Whatever happens in the training, it's clearly working. There's some sort of gelling happening. I mean, the week before when you were struggling, you made the substitutions. There's an instant impact. I mean, to lose Milner, Henderson and Fabinho, right, so closely together, you'd think, okay, this is going to be a big dip. But I think the recovery has been quite good, and you've now got this unit which can excel for a few years, and then you can actually see the rewards. Now, obviously, it hurts me to say that as a United fan, but you have to be open and honest, right, in these things.
Oh, absolutely. This is Liverpool 2.0, as Klopp mentioned. This is only the start, right? And I'll give you the full list of outgoings of midfielders last season. Naby Keita, who absolutely
Oh
wrecked
yeah,
United
forgot
in that
about
one
him.
game. Oxlade-Chamberlain, James Milner, Fabio Carvalho, who'd never really had a place, number 10. Okay. Henderson as well. Fabinho. And then you lose key players like Roberto Firmino. A lot of big characters, a lot of big
Yeah,
parts of
yeah,
the identity of Liverpool in seasons
agreed.
past.
And I think there was a lot of talk, especially after you'd won the league, that okay, Salah, and especially when Mane moved, right? It's gonna kind of there's gonna be a drop off, and there's gonna be this and that. But I think with Firmino and Mane gone, Salah still hanging around, and like you said last week, Salah's turned it up a notch. I think it still worked well, and that's a club operating in a proper way. I mean,
Can can I
you
tell
look
you
at
why? Can
Arsenal,
I tell you
right?
why it works? I'll tell you the one ingredient that I've seen in this group of players that I don't see exist in City. Somewhat, they are neat. There are cliques in City. Definitely not in Man United. Definitely not in Chelsea. Somewhat in Tottenham is they're really, really bond well behind the scenes. They're friendly.
Yeah, and I
They
think
got
that's important. I
dressing
mean,
room.
we
The dressing
work
room
we
is
work
top notch.
together, right? And if
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
bond well, I don't think we can't deliver what we need to do, right? End of the day, it's a job. Like I said, they're paid professionals. They've got a
yeah.
job to do. I mean, you look at the impact of players, right? Madison to Spurs, that's a whole new ball game there, right? I mean, Son's on a whole new level, and
Yeah.
the Spurs are missing Madison quite badly, right?
Oh, he's key
And
for them. Yeah.
even Porro, I think he's a really good signing for them. I
Mm.
think he's done really well. You look at Arsenal, everybody was like, "Oh, money wasted on Rice," but I think Rice deserved what he got, right? I mean, the price he
He's good.
doesn't
He's good.
control the price tag. He's fit in well. Arteta wanted him. Yes, it's not worked out with Timber. He's injured, but when he's back, I mean, that's a strong back line with Saliba and him.
Arsenal got a very powerful squad, except in the striking positions. If
Yeah,
they
I
had
mean,
top
they've got
striker
Jesus and
Nketiah,
Nketiah, yeah, and then you've
it's
got Saka on the other side. I think it's young, but I
Saka's
do think
12.
they need a proficient striker.
Yes, yes, exactly. If they had an Osimhen or someone like that up front, they'd be quite deadly. Their midfield overhaul is quite good because I've ranked it 8 out of 10 because they got Odegaard, they got Rice, Havertz, who's love or hate hit and miss, but technically
Yeah,
proficient. Underneath that though, look, you compare their backup options to Man United options. You got like Partey, El Nene, Jorginho. They actually have options in that midfield. Man United just do not. They simply do not have options beyond the Fernandes, the Casemiro, the Ericsson, the Mount. Your core group of players
I mean,
underneath
if
that
we
is
if we have
so good.
all the injury players back, right? I mean, you've got a bit of flexibility, but then it goes back to the same thing. Okay, it's names on the paper, on cards, right? We've got the
Yeah,
names, but then what
yeah,
are they offering or bringing?
that's
Nothing.
right.
I mean, for me, I think we're back to where we were a season and a half ago, just when Ten Hag signed. It's in such a mess, and I think injuries is going to be the biggest excuse for the entire season. And realistically, how much can you add? I mean, with these injuries, you've surely got to have a different plan now in the transfer market. I mean, we need a striker, but is he really going to go for it, knowing we've still got Martial and still got Hoyland? Do we kind of
Martial.
get through it?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing that we have with just getting loan strikers and just going in. I mean, Cavani joined a couple of years ago, right? And I found that ironic because I think was it the previous transfer window he refused to join, and then he
Mm.
joined because there was no one else going for him.
No other
Yes,
options.
he
Yes.
yes he did well. He could have done better. And again, that's an out and out striker. But when was the last time we actually signed someone with the proper striking credentials coming into the team, expecting to go and run with it? Right? We just haven't.
Lukaku. It was Lukaku.
Well, Lukaku could have been the dream, right? Let's be honest, but it just turned sour, and I think
Lukaku.
he's let himself go as well. If you look at what he's gone and done away as well with Chelsea and then Inter and then back and forth.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. And just in terms of the game coming up as well, what is your biggest? What do you identify as the biggest threat from Liverpool? Who's going to do the damage on the Liverpool squad? There's so many potential sources, but who do you think is going to do the damage on
I
the
think
weekend?
Sabasai. I think he's a big threat. I think Salah is always is going to be a major threat, and I think whoever's in the box at that point is entirely going to benefit, right? And with Onana at goal, I won't be surprised if there's at least 20 shots on target.
At Anfield as well, yeah, with the crowd behind him.
Well, yeah, this is
Mm.
it, and I think the bunch of players that we have, the mentality isn't there. I mean, this thing about dressing room leaks and dressing room going toxic. I mean, there's no personalities in there. There's no big egos. I mean, they can't do it on the pitch. I don't expect them to do it off the pitch, right? So it's the good old analogy of keyboard warriors. We just don't know who to believe, but I think it's going to be a very delightful watch for you and a painful one for us. I'm gonna watch it. I mean, it's the occasion, right? Liverpool
A
and
big event,
Man
big
United. You
match.
don't miss it, but I'll just think of the good old times.
Indeed, indeed. Speaking of good times, the main stand in Anfield is going to be opening at extra like 5,000, 7,000 people sitting in there. So the biggest crowd for quite a while. Big event in that regard. Old Trafford still hasn't been refurbished. But just on a note for my personal fans here, what is an unbiased Man United point of view of Wataru Endo? How's his career in Liverpool? How's his career in the Premier League? He's 16 million, right, compared to Caicedo, 115 million, compared to Romeo Lavia, 65 million, compared to Ugarte, who's about 45 million to PSG. What do you think of Wataru Endo from what you've seen?
I think technically very good. I think he has a lot more than what he kind of looks to have, if that makes sense. I think he's got a wide skill set. I think physicality wise, I think the season will show. I think again, it's hard to judge a player with such a short space of games, but I think it's a good signing. I think money wise, it could be good business. But even if it doesn't work out, I think it's still good business because you'll probably still make a bit of money on him when he moves on. But I think time will tell. But it's definitely looking in the right direction. I definitely don't think it's one to worry about at this stage of the season to say, we've wasted our money. But good on the ball, confident on the ball, and willing to take that little risk, to get himself into that position or to create that chance. And I think the vision, yes, it's early days and it's limited, but I think he's shown the appetite to have that.
Excellent. I like that summary of Wataru Endo, midfield samurai scouser. You see, Red fans, even Man United supporters appreciate Wataru Endo's contributions. But we'll end on that note. Thank you so much, Kash, for joining.
No worries. Thank you for having me, and good luck for the game, and we'll speak soon.
Absolutely. Wish you best of luck for the game as
Take
well.
care,
You
man.
guys
All the
will need
best. Thanks, guys.
it.
Bye.
Peace.